I'd like to open with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this gathering of folks who come together for social time, for learning and hearing more about you in different ways. We do all the presentations tell us about the wonder that you have for us and that we enjoy. Always keep us focused on you as we go through this year. Be with us all as we go through our lives. Bless our families and all those that are in need of your healing touch and grace, of which there are so many. Just be with us this day. Amen. So Lynn, without further ado, it's your schedule.
Okay. I'm going to keep this as short as possible so we don't shortchange Leah's presentation. If you're here on Sunday or been reading some emails, we are launching a new church system called Church Center for us to try to stay connected and use all the best resources and things. And one more tool in our wheelhouse of things to keep us connected. There's an app if you want an app, if you want help downloading that. I'll be here after the presentation this morning. We can do that. Or if you want to come early next week for the Tuesday fellowship, I'll be here starting at 9 a.m. If you want to walk through that. But you don't need the app. So if you're like, I don't want more app on my devices, you don't need it. All you have to do is go to the church website here. At the top banner, this blue bar at the top, there's over here some icons where you can search the whole website and our social connections. But this one over here that looks like a flag, the far left, that will link you to Church Center. So this will be all kinds of information for you to help you stay connected with the church. So it brings me to my profile and settings here. This will tell me what upcoming events I have in the groups that I'm a part of, like today's fellowship group. And you can find down here different groups that you are involved in. You can see your giving information and signups that you've done. If you want to give online, if that's the way you do it, you can click this give button over here at the top and it will save your information. You can also set up reoccurring giving or click my giving and that will have all of your statements and things like that when it comes to tax time. Signups here are all like upcoming events that you might want to sign up for. So things like Rise Against Hunger, or small group opportunities, concerts, things like that, you will find all here. If you're interested in joining a small group or support groups, you can see the groups you're already currently in, or go down here and find all the different leadership ways if you want to get more involved, or music ensembles, anything like that. And then under more, you'll find more opportunities. You could check into worship on Sunday morning if you want to do that. This calendar is the entire church calendar. Before we were managing like 4 different calendars. So were any of them right? Probably not. So this one, we now have one calendar for everything. It's all university or universal. So if you're wondering what's happening in the church, this is the calendar look. This is probably more helpful than a typo that you might find in the bulletin. So go here, you can view it as a list here, or you can look at it as a month version. So that's a helpful tool. There's also a church directory. Now this is a slow process directory. We'll eventually have it more robust. It is a opt-in, unfortunately, so to protect your privacy and information. So while you're having this presentation, you'll get an email from me. I'm going to send you an email if you want to opt into the church directory. You can sort it by first name or last name, whatever you might want to do. And then you can click on a profile and you can say, I want to show my address like Angela's showing. You can show your birthday. It won't show you the years, so you can protect your age. You can be as young as you want to be. And then there's a button here for contact Angela. So it won't list your email or things like that to, again, protect your privacy. but you could contact her that way and then click on the whole household. If you're like, who's her children again? I don't remember. But again, it's a slow build up. Eventually it will be more useful.
Tell us about phone numbers.
Phone numbers. We currently can't list phone numbers. That is something that I'm requesting to Planning Center to add as a functionality. I know you all like to call each other. So hopefully that will be coming. Like anything, it's a tool. And the nice thing is this company, unlike our previous company, they're much more robust in updating information and adding things that we might suggest more quickly than our previous one, where we sent requests and then it took 3 years for it to actually happen. So, and then over here in this bar, there's notifications of things that you might want to do things like that. You can chat with different groups if you're interested in chatting. It will also email you those kind of things. And I will show you one more thing. Since you are part of a group currently, yes.
Someone asked a question about whether other people could see the presentation. I don't know if.
Was that you, Bill?
Yeah.
Do you want to unmute?
Bill Tilson.
Click your view settings to see all. Okay. Yeah, there's a gallery view, a speaker view. If you're on an iPad, you might need to swipe. Is that helpful? Maybe? Yes, no?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get off mute. I'm not seeing the presentation, although I kind of know what you're talking about from using it. But I'm wondering about the rest of the people online.
Everyone else, how you doing? You want a thumbs up? Unmute?
I can see it.
Okay.
At first I couldn't, but I can now.
And Tom Craveland, you all okay?
This is Tom. I can see it.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I guess I'm the only one.
Try swiping, Bob. So because you're in a small group, thank you. Please help me see things. So this Tuesday fellowship group, since you are part of a group, you can see all your upcoming events. You can also go to resources and you'll find the current full schedule. So if you lose that paper copy that Dave just gave you, or if you want to find things without the email reminders that Dave sends, you could click here and get the PDF of all the upcoming things. And if you I want to watch some old recordings of presentations, you can click this link and it will send it to the YouTube playlist of all the Tuesday Fellowship recordings. So it's an easy way to do that. And then under members, if you go, what's the name of that person in our group that I can't remember? You can go to the members tab and go through, and you can set your privacy information for this group differently than what you might do for the church directory. So I can go into more detail with you on that later. So, and also I'd like to get more photos of folks in here so you can have more visual representation. So you can add your own photos, but if you want me to take your photo at some point and we get it in there, we can do that too. So that's a very brief highlight of, you can do a lot more. Again, more things will roll out and hopefully as we start using it. But please, if you have questions, let us know, document what your questions are. Please don't suffer in silence. We want to help you. We want it to be a useful tool. So don't hesitate. There's no stupid questions. I'll happy to talk to you afterwards. I do a Tuesday tech or a Thursday tech time. If you want to come to that at 10 a.m. And we can walk through some of that, we can do that. I can get you information on that if you don't get my emails about that. Or next week starting at 9 a.m. Yes.
Thursday Tech Time.
Yeah.
For those of you who have not been in that or tuned into it, it's not overly complex. It's for those that want to learn more about technology. So if you have questions about it, don't be afraid to join the Zoom session on it.
Right, and it's come with any questions you might ever have. Again, no stupid questions. We're here to help you. It's a community of people here to help. Yes,
So this is on the homepage of our site.
correct.
So anybody who comes to our site and sees that would have access to us?
So you do need to log in
Right.
to it. So when you first click on it, mine's auto logged in because I've already logged in. It will ask you for your email or your phone number, like the kiosks here do. It's all linked together. If you signed in on that check-in tablet that Dave was passing around, again, it's all connected. It's one nice universal thing. So once you put in your phone number, it will ask you to confirm that this account is yours, and then you will create a passcode and it will log you into your account. So you already have an account. We created it for you. We moved over your giving histories and theoretically all the groups you're a part of. So if there are things that we did wrong, again, let us know. We'll adjust accordingly. So great questions. Was there a question back?
Well, you answered the first one, which is don't you have to register?
Yes, yes.
And this replaces Realm.
Yes, so if you have the Realm app on your phone or have it bookmarked, feel free to delete that. That is dead. So, yes, Dave.
Just wanted to mention, as usual, I sent out the wrong link to the church center. And I will be sending the right link when I circulate the recording. So don't ignore the recording just because you came. There will also be the link to register and go to the church center. Sorry.
Okay. Anything else before we let Leah dive into her presentation? Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time,
Thank you,
guys.
Leah.
You are making.
Thank you.
Lynn, thank you. Great overview of Church Center. And again,
We need to get your presentation up.
right.
There it is.
There we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lynn, thank you. Thanks again. It's so great to have Lynn available, and John Frost has also been working hard on our transition to Church Center. So please do ask Lynn and really any staff member, if they don't know the answer, they will find it for you as we move. We want this to be a tool that's helpful to you and connects us to each other and helps us be the body of Christ together. So Siri, do you believe in God? Okay, how many of you asked Siri that this morning? Okay, a few of you did. Yeah. This is a topic that I do not pretend to be an expert on. This is a presentation that is part of my own kind of wondering and pondering and exploring and contemplation of artificial intelligence. It's a topic that I think gets at some core of who we are as human beings, as those created in the image of God, and how we interact with this tool that we have created. So we'll explore the connection between faith and artificial intelligence in the space of 20, how much time do I have? 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, as much time as you want.
Oh, no.
And at 11 o'clock, those who have commitments.
May absent
Leave
themselves.
at their leisure
Okay.
without any penalty.
Very good, very
Those
good.
who are continued to stay can stay.
That's so generous. Thank you, Ted, and thank you, Dave. And first, thanks to this group for your continuing invitation to be with you, especially as you begin again this fall. It's so good to be with you. You are an amazing group of people, and I'm so grateful for the ways that you engage in that study and deeper learning within the life of faith and in community with each other. And also inviting people from beyond the community of faith to bring in insights and have that interaction, be that intersecting point. So there's an intersecting point here, the connection between faith and artificial intelligence, that I would love to hear from you first. What is your approach to artificial intelligence? If you're willing, you don't have to share, but if you're willing, raise your hand if your first response to this question is, I'm not going to have anything to do with it. Thank you very much. Anybody? It's okay to say that. Okay. All right. That's great. How about those of you who kind of have this perspective of it's curious and I'm concerned? Okay. Oh, good. All right. Yeah. And how about those of you, I embrace artificial intelligence. I use it increasingly in my life and in my work. Anybody there? Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate your openness to this question and at least to exploring it for the next 20 or 30 minutes. So why faith in AI? Why even talk about artificial intelligence? One, whether we embrace it or not, I think all of us are recognizing the impact on our culture, on our world. And so as people of faith who want to be engaged with the world, to be in the world, but not of the world, as our scriptures tell us, we know that AI here is rapidly transforming virtually every aspect of our lives, from healthcare to how we move around the world, how we use resources, and what questions might be involved in the use of AI. We do believe that we use our faith as an interpretive lens. If we believe that God is Lord of all, there is not a particular subject on which we might not engage as people of faith. So our faith provides us wisdom and ethical discernment and even hope as we are responding to AI's opportunities and the demands. Our human identity, I think how we understand technology and what it means to be human. I think sometimes we joke about, replacement parts that we as humans enjoy in our medical care, like replacement knees. Is it a different thing when we have, perhaps something more intelligent working for us to prolong life, to increase quality of life? And what are the questions therein? What is our human purpose and nature? And, we have our book of confession guides us. What is the chief end of humanity? Does anybody remember the answer to that question in our?
Glorify God and enjoy Him.
Yes, yes, right on, to glorify God and enjoy God forever. How does our work here glorify God? I wonder if someone could help our friends who are trying to get into the church over there in the back. Thank you. And then how does our faith, or how can our faith guide the alignment of technological progress, if we want to call it progress or changes, with spiritual values and community well-being? And how do we define the community, the beloved community? So backing up just a little bit, when we talk about artificial intelligence, just exactly what are we talking about? So a very simple definition of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence refers to machines designed to simulate human intelligence, including learning and reasoning abilities. Now, there are narrowly defined artificial intelligence machines, and they do a very particular job. And then there's general AI and including something you might have heard of as generative AI. It's making something new, aims to replicate broad human cognitive functions. Yeah, so you might think of kind of one of those things that people automatically were scared of at first when artificial intelligence became more and more generative is, well, no college student is ever going to write a term paper again. They just type in, write me a good paper about this and this and make it 9 pages long. Oh man, it's everybody's dream when they're a sophomore and it's 1 a.m. And yeah, so that would be generative AI. Applications of AI technologies like chatbots, those things that pop up offering you customer service. Yeah, not long ago, that used to actually be a person who was kind of chatting with you. More and more, you probably know this, you're chatting with an AI machine there who is trained to answer a certain kind of question, a certain kind of way, and try to interpret the many ways you could ask that question as, oh, I recognize that question, even though you might not use the right word or the right spelling. That's a chatbot. Facial recognition, anybody flown lately? Yeah, all those new things that they're adding to TSA, that's like look into the, and doing facial recognition, whereas you used to have a human being holding your license and you go, have I really changed that much in 3 years? You gotta keep looking. Well, now the computer can look a little faster. Ethical considerations too. Understanding AI's capacities and limits is vital for responsible use and addressing ethical issues. So a few types of AI tools. Thank you, Dave. Dave sent me this list. It's a short list of those commonly known types of AI tools, and most of these would be generative. So Siri, anybody use Siri ever, whether you want to or not? I have to tell you a funny story. I served with a pastor, and he was preaching a sermon that involved a passage that had references to Syria in the scripture. He also had his phone in his pocket while he was preaching. And so 9 or 10 times during his sermon, Siri said, yes, do you have a question? And you could hear it from his pocket. Every time he said Syria, and she goes, yes. And so recognizing the difference between, and it was a very serious sermon too, Syria, and yeah. Anyway, but Siri was very bright and happy to try to help. Alexa is a virtual personal assistant marketed by Amazon. So you might know Alexa. Sometimes people have those little cones in their homes so that you don't even have to have your phone near you. You can talk to this thing on the countertop. ChatGPT, a generative artificial intelligence developed by OpenAI, and kind of the stated mission of OpenAI was that this should be accessible and free for everyone to a certain level. So that was kind of the tool where certain people that were not otherwise familiar with artificial intelligence for their work got to sort of play with it for a little while. Copilot is a virtual assistant developed by Microsoft. So if you use any Microsoft tools, that usually comes free to a certain level. Gemini, virtual assistant developed by Google. Notebook LM, that was one I had not heard of, but Dave introduced me to that. Can search specific documents and PDFs too. Some less obvious kinds of artificial intelligence at work. Email filters. How many of you have had an email sent to junk mail when it was not in fact junk? Oh, so AI is not perfect, right? But it is kind of nice that when there is junk, that it's filtering out some of that. Photo organization and enhancement. Any of you suddenly have your phone pop up and say, I've got a photo album and slideshow of your vacation and whatever. Here you go. And they're kind of fun to watch, aren't they? Kind of fun to share. One of my children the other day commented that her facial recognition software on the photo she was taking was no longer recognizing her as herself. And she said, what do I do? And I keep labeling myself and it still doesn't understand that I'm not 10 anymore. So that's identifying people in your pictures. Also age progression for crime analysis. So if you've seen those pictures of, this is what the child looked like when last seen, and this is what they probably looked like at 18. Some of that can be very helpful in identifying missing persons. Recommendation engines. How many of you have had those you think, oh, Netflix, thank you. I never would have found that. Or you get frustrated because someone else found something and it never pops up for you. Amazon, you might have those things pop up. Books you might love based on what you bought. Yeah. Healthcare diagnostics, reading x-rays, and my last mammogram at the very bottom of my report sheet, it said your mammogram was read with the assistance of AI. And I thought that was interesting, because you always wonder, like someone just having a bad day or tired when it's a human only. I thought that was kind of comforting. Fraud detection in banking. To make sure it's really you purchasing $900 in camping gear at a Colorado REI. I had that alert pop up on my phone the other day. Did you just buy $925 of camping gear? And I had not. So it prevented that credit card fraud from happening. Maps and directions. Predictive analytics for traffic patterns. How many of you, at least some of the time, use GPS when you're traveling? Okay, yeah. Finding it usually helpful, occasionally. Anybody ended up at the service entrance for a certain big place? Yeah. One of the early years, we were going to the Tulsa Zoo. And I've been to the Tulsa Zoo a million times, but I hadn't been there from the direction we were coming, and kept driving. That just doesn't look right, but I'm sure Google knows where it's sending me. And it's sending me to like the truck entrance, and there were lots of manure trucks out there. And I had to see a whole different part of the zoo than I'd ever seen before. Adaptive tools too. Talk to text. How many of you have tried that before? Either willingly or surprisingly. Capturing voice for communicating. So some people who have lost the ability to speak, if possible, they can record their voice to the extent that the computers can then replicate their voice. So they type something on a screen or simply make eye contact, if that's how they're identifying words now. And the computer can speak their voice for them in a much more natural way than a computer voice might be able to speak it. Auto assist. I think, there are some things that are embedded in our daily lives now that we hardly even think about as artificial intelligence. Some cautions though. 1983. You could find a lot of different quotes like this, but this is by Walker Percy, who's a Catholic writer, wrote the book Lost in the Cosmos, the last self-help book. Could be either optimistic or pessimistic there. A quote from his writing: "You live in a deranged age." Remember, this is 1983. More deranged than usual because despite great scientific and technological advances, man has not the faintest idea of who he is or what he is doing. And we think about, what he had recently lived through, 1983. What happened in the last century from 1883 to 1983. Incredible technological advances. I think about, I was, preparing a funeral bulletin the other day, and the person had been born in the 20s, and I just thought, 1929. What would that have been like to live through that 100 years? And you probably dwell on some of these questions. I know I do. But has it made us any more humane to one another? Maybe in some ways, maybe not in others. Wendell Berry, some of you may know Wendell Berry, a poet, person of deep spiritual conviction. He wrote this in an essay against modern superstition in 2000. "It is easy for me to imagine that the next great division of the world will be between people who wish to live as creatures and people who wish to live as machines." Yeah. Lynn and I were talking earlier before this presentation, and I don't think I've realized this until I delved a little deeper in this topic, but I've always been fascinated by films and books that that contemplate our interaction with technology, and even in artificial intelligence, even when it wasn't quite there to that extent. But what movies or books have you read that kind of help you consider the benefits and the ramifications of human progress?
2001.
2001, yeah. The Space Odyssey, yes. Yeah, what else?
One you mentioned in your sermon, A Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle
That's
in
an
Time.
old kid's book. Joe took from
It is, yeah.
It
written
is.
in the,
And won the
yeah,
awards
70s.
for it.
Right, Newbery Award winning, yeah. A Wrinkle in Time. Any others?
Metropolis.
Metropolis, very good. Yeah, that's from the 20s, right? Yeah. Any from our online live stream folks that you're thinking about? That's okay. You can chime in later. Gattaca, has anybody seen that movie? Yeah. So Gattaca, the title itself is spelled all with the letters that are shorthand code for our DNA. And it's about a time in the future when predictive analytics becomes such that you are analyzed with your DNA when you were born and then kind of routed to certain things that you were more or less capable of. And someone who kind of tries to go around the system to fulfill a dream of what he feels called to do in life. Minority Report, anybody see that movie with Tom Cruise? That was predictive analytics in crime. If you were at some point analyzing your education and your previous history and what you've done before, and video analysis would try to predict your likelihood of committing a serious crime and arrest you before you would commit that crime. So interesting idea.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we as humans have always really wrestled with this, the promise of some of this technology, and also we can imagine what might happen, even with good intentions. This is a quote from an article that came out just this month in the Christian Century by Reverend Zach Coons. He's an Episcopal priest in Austin, Texas, and wrote this piece called "The Priesthood of All Chatbots." And he said, "I'm open to finding ways that AI can make some work more efficient within my own church staff, but I can think of 1,000 things I would try AI on before praying or preaching, like having AI work on the prayers or the sermon before the practices that lie so close to the heart of the church's ministry and identity. How about creating bulletins, mail merges and attendance records, kitchen and office resupply, facilities management, vacation tracking? How about summarizing the relevant points from the 15-page finance report I receive every month before our vestry meeting? Take care of that stuff for me, and I might actually have time to write a sermon." And I empathize with that. So, I mean, there are some things that AI could be really good at, shrinking the amount of time needed. But where are the bounds? Whether it's a pastor or you in your own life. So we think about being made in the image of God. That's what Imago Dei means, our human uniqueness. And we started last Sunday at the beginning of our scriptures of Genesis 1 and John 1, and that wondrous, that fearsome act of creation that God continues to do. I think about this, I can't remember what author it was, Siri could probably tell me, who said, the delight of creation is such that God is almost like a child every morning talking within God's own self. Of every sunrise going, do it again, do it again. Because it's just, I think all of us stand in awe, no matter how many times you've seen a sunset, there's something in the human condition that stands in awe of what God has made, what God does, and the ordinariness and amazingness of every day. There was that quote I used from John Calvin, every single blade of grass is revealing God's splendor. And so we think about the wonders of creation. Being made in God's image too, we are creators. There's that idea of co-creation. We make more people, we make tools, we make culture, language, and of course this is with God's help. So we can reflect on AI development as maybe divine participation in creation, or is it human overreach in creative work? I think there might not be one either or in that. And then wisdom versus knowledge. We know that you can know lots of things, but have no wisdom. I mean, those are kind of two different ideas of facts versus insight. So scriptural considerations, creation through the word, that's what we, the Judeo-Christian traditions believe that it took a word, just a word for God to create. Also not seeing that incompatible with what we can explore with science and the origins of the universe and of humans, species. We think about too Psalm 139, that meditation on the wonder of God's creation in each and every human being, that worth and purpose we have as humans. I think we also need to go back to our roots as Reformed Christians and not deny that we are so in the water of sin that we don't even know oftentimes. Where sin seeps in, where temptations, even temptations to good, can lead to separation from God and from one another, and massive inequality and even abuse. Any scriptures come to mind when you think about the temptation and sin and human progress? Have any thoughts on what stories from our faith tradition might come to mind?
The prodigal son.
Prodigal son. Oh yeah, if I just had enough cash,
Yeah.
I could build my own life really well, probably better than what I have at home. Yeah, there's that sense of pride and individuality. Yeah, thank you, Barb. Yeah. Any others? Adam and Eve, right? That fruit of the tree of knowledge between good and evil, right? Yeah. Yeah, that I can handle all that knowledge. Sure. Yes, Dave.
Good Samaritan.
The Good Samaritan. Yeah. What does it mean to be a neighbor? And does our neighbor look like us? Does the one who is neighbor to us need to look like us? Yeah, thank you. Carrie.
Maybe into modern time, cloning.
Cloning, right.
Should we?
Yeah.
Even if we can, should we do it?
Even if we can, should we do it? Right. Yeah, that difference between can we do it versus should we do it? Yeah. So we've wrestled with that question before. Same thing with nuclear, technology. If we can do it, should we do it? Yeah, Dave.
I think one Gary Boyd.
Yes.
One Gary Boyd was.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't hear.
Well, what did you say, Dave?
We don't need to clone Gary Boyd.
Oh. You are one of a kind, is what Dave is saying, Gary. There's
That was not nice.
There is one and only. So these questions, and I think it is hard sometimes when we have a serious question and there's not a chapter on cloning necessarily so plainly in the Bible. But we have the story of the Tower of Babel. We can just build our way to divine life. Yeah. So ethical challenges of AI. we've kind of studied a little bit about the ways that AI is benefiting us in some ways and can. Also, some challenges that we have already run into. One is algorithmic bias. And that is the bias toward those who created it are humans. And so when they're teaching an artificial intelligent machine, what are they teaching it?
What they believe.
What they believe, their own bias, right? Right. So even today, even in some of the most quote unquote advanced artificial intelligence, if you type in a word like human, it will pull up almost all white men. It's just that's the default with many of these. Some of them have become aware of that racial bias and gender bias and have worked really hard. But when you type in a word that feels difficult, it doesn't know what to do with that. Trying to think of a recent example. I typed in brokenness once, just trying to find an image to use for a presentation. And says, I don't have any images of that. We don't talk about brokenness. I don't have any image of that. Yeah, you can't really do abstract, right? Now, some programs that are specifically designed to search images do a better job of that, but your typical artificial intelligence, it tends to lean toward the very generic and the plain and kind of what you would call maybe the kind of the very stereotypical representations. When I occasionally I'll ask my co-pilot on Microsoft, because we use Microsoft products here, I'll say, find a quote from a modern author on the subject of, and it will pull up almost all, again, white men from the 20th century. It doesn't search beyond that. It doesn't search women or recent quotes. It's interesting. Economic inequality, automation through AI. I think we've all kind of thought about what happens to those lower level jobs, even in information technology, when AI is now writing code, and all those coding jobs that all the kids were training for 20 years ago, 15 years ago, where did those happen? There have been some articles recently. You can do your own Google search about job and the bottom rung on many ladders and different sectors of their fields are kind of disappearing. So what do you do when you don't have the entry level jobs anymore? Moral responsibility, AI use in healthcare. I think all of us have wondered, our insurance companies know a whole lot about us, genetic testing, genetic databases. We've seen how those can be used. And that's something that we really want to discuss, and issues of autonomy, accountability, ethics, privacy, all those things. And then there's environmental impact, and I had to make it its own slide for this. And this is something that, again, in our household is a frequent topic of discussion. High energy consumption for large training models. So when we say training models, the AI machine, it takes a lot of energy to kind of upload a lot of this information for us to kind of grind and generate its own new things. Estimates vary, but one AI search can use 10 times the amount of energy from standard internet search. So if you've gone to Google and asked Google a question, it usually pulls up different websites or resources. If you ask an AI model that same question, it might crunch some of those primary sources and give you a good summary or show you the most frequently used sources to use, but it also used 10 times the amount of energy for that search. So there's a significant carbon footprint for data centers, and down below, just an awareness that even while we talk about the cloud, things being up in a digital space that can be pulled down from anywhere, which is very cool, but it also has a physical footprint on the ground. And by 2026, the electricity consumption of data centers is expected to approach 1,050 terawatt hours, which could bump data centers up to 5th place on the global list of energy consumption between Japan and Russia. So that's not nothing. It's like a whole new country popping up with the amount of energy use somewhere in between Japan and Russia, which is, not insignificant. We've all kind of talked about, what goes into our cell phones, and virtually every one of us has a phone that has those rare earth minerals. And how are those being recycled? Can they be recycled? We've talked also about companies with planned obsolescence. How many of you have tried to use a phone and the battery keeps like going down and down until it doesn't hold a charge, and then now they're getting this note that your system is not being supported anymore and it's dropping calls, and so you have to go buy a new phone. I don't know how many of you grew up, and I think we had the same landline phone for my whole childhood, right? Or more. It was a kind of an innovation. We finally got rid of the rotary phone, but it worked really well. Yeah, it never broke. Yes.
I just got new hearing aids.
Yes.
And they're probably a quarter larger than my old ones because they're more intelligent. More than the old ones.
Right. So that trade-off.
Yeah.
Right. So if you couldn't hear Rhoda, she's just got new hearing aids, and the new and improved model is also bigger. Whether we want a bigger one, because it has more technology. Yeah. Right. So water usage too. My older child came home the other day and really gave me a talking to. She said, "I hope you're not using too many AI searches to fit together your presentation." She said, "Because every time you do an AI search, a tablespoon of water is used." And I said, "Well, that doesn't sound like too much water." She said, "Yeah, but everyone doing all those searches every day, and in certain places we're running out, and it has to be clean water." So you think about living waters for the world and how incredibly important clean water is for every human being in the world, and how little of our water in the planet in general is drinkable right now. Well, we have technology that's helping us, continue to filter that. And that's why we support Living Waters for the World, and, making sure communities around the world have clean water systems, and we have partners like that. But I think that's a sobering thing, that there's a lot of resources involved in these, things we're doing from our desk Now, there are also potential positive contributions like climate modeling, energy optimization. I mean, a lot of our technology uses far less energy than it used to. I don't know if you've had some new appliances. Maybe you've seen your bills go down, or less water usage. So, technology developers do have this awareness of how can we reduce that impact. And that is an ongoing conversation with the groups that are developing artificial intelligence. There's also this kind of a balance of, lowering the energy consumption. Does that inadvertently create kind of this new cycle of people feel less guilty? Okay, now I can use it as much as I want, because, it's kind of like anything else. If we think there's an abundance, we'll tend to use more. So faith-based engagement, a study of scripture and Christian ethics as it relates to AI. I would love to have a Bible study about this. I don't know about you, but I think just, again, turning toward God's word and how that intersects with our real lived experience. I think that's what we're always called to do as we go to the Bible, that I think was Buechner, the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other, or the smartphone in the other. Advocacy for responsible AI. What can the community or communities of faith speak into this worldwide question? And how do we witness to the hope we have in Christ and what abundant life looks like in the midst of rapidly changing culture and technology? How do we advocate for transparency and accountability and inclusivity in AI development? and design. AI in ministry. I mean, it is here. There's a new tool launched in the Episcopal Church in the United States called Episcobot. I kid you not.
Oh, good grief.
And they're introducing it to all of their ministerial staff. It's fascinating. They said we think every denomination will be coming out with this thing. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, what was that? Well, so AI in some cases is being used to triage and even offer baseline counseling. I have serious questions about whether, and actually I have a statement about, can AI offer pastoral care?
No.
Oh.
There's that human element.
Yeah. Can AI be a Stephen minister?
No.
No.
Ever.
No. Yeah, there's that aspect of being incarnately with one another.
It can't have, I don't know how it could show empathy.
Show empathy. Yeah. Can it show empathy? It can mimic empathy. It can say, I'm sorry you're having such a rough day. Yeah.
Oh, that's junk.
It can do that. That's junk. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. People are turning to AI for friendships.
That's bad.
Bad. Okay. Isolation. Yeah. Can AI really be your friend? Can AI go split a pizza with you? Or tell you not to see that movie? Yeah. Spiritual values and technology. Engage. We can though engage AI thoughtfully to ensure or attempt to ensure that our technology aligns with our spiritual values, with our core mission, and the great ends of the church. So kind of in summary, we're getting close to the top of the hour. So I do think AI challenges us to consider and reconsider again what it means to be human. And that's a question that we've wrestled with and held as an important question throughout the human experience and definitely within the Christian tradition. And so this is part of that continuing conversation. So for that reason, I think it's a very faithful thing for us to engage with. Faith also helps us know from where we stand. We stand with humility, curiosity, and we can stand with hope too when engaging with AI's ethical and spiritual questions. And I think it's important to keep in mind our human propensity toward idolatry and sin. Some of the articles that I read recently talk about AI like it is a savior, like it is the bearer of good news and will fix all our problems. Yeah. I think about Jesus in the story of his temptation. The devil didn't tempt Jesus with images of destruction, but of what? All the bread everyone could need, all the land you could ever want to rule. So we are tempted by things that make big promises of goodness and problem solving. So we just want to be aware of that. And then love. Love is a guiding principle. Amid change and uncertainty, love and the love we know in the one who came to be with us is a central guiding principle for faith communities. Navigating AI and its use and its impact, the word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. And grace is a thing that I don't think you can ever train an AI to understand. They might be able to tell you the definition, but it's practice. That's the work of the Spirit and those who are called into Christ's service. So I did ask this question of Copilot. So my title was Siri, do you believe in God? So this is the answer that I got back. This is verbatim. Copilot, do you believe in God? So to answer plainly, I don't believe in God. Not because I reject belief, but because I don't have beliefs at all. I don't have consciousness, emotions, or spiritual awareness. I can understand and discuss theology, scripture, and religious experience, but I don't experience them myself. I thought that was kind of a really nice answer.
That's a better answer than Siri gave.
Yeah, she said, I'm not human. I don't
not
have a
human.
religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Siri's very firmly, she doesn't want to talk about it. What are your questions about faith in AI? Either from this presentation, Steffi, yeah.
I have kind of a unique situation. I'm an identical twin.
Yes.
My identical twin sister, we bank at the same banking area. We both have Apple facial recognition, and she, and we've been at the Apple store repeatedly because they've tried to use voice recognition. Our voices are coming across exactly the same. We've tried to use facial recognition, and our facial recognition is coming across exactly the same. So I can open up my computer, she can open up my computer. And when we've been there, because of all the multiple births with fertility clinics,
Yes.
where you have identical triplets, multiple identical twins, and multiple triplets, the Apple store in King of Prussia is having a really difficult time with us.
That's fascinating. So if you couldn't hear Steffi has an identical twin, and the recognition software, both for voice and for facial recognition, cannot tell them apart.
Plus, we have 3 sets of identical twins in my family and 2 sets of identical triplets.
Yeah, so you're all giving AI fits. Yes.
We're giving AI, but AI is having a major, the King of Prussia store just cringes when they see Robbie and myself.
Yeah, good. But they cringe because a human immediately knows you are 2 different people.
And it goes, Siri, then Siri will go, Robbie, Steffi, Robbie, Steffi.
Yeah.
We're having some major problems with artificial.
Wow, thank you for that insight and conundrum. Probably I did not ever contemplate that, but it makes total sense that a human and AI would react very differently to identical twins.
They called her. She recently went to Europe, and they pulled her out. They said we don't know who you, when they at the airport when they're doing facial recognition. They don't know. Said, let us see your passport, and because
she probably matches with you too.
Our facial recognition.
Fascinating. Wow, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yes, Gary.
There really is no such thing as identical twins. There is no 2 identical people. You may look alike,
right?
But there's much more to you than what you look like.
Absolutely, yes, and humans know this. Yes, we absolutely know this. Yeah, your first interaction with twins teaches you that. Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. Did I see? Yes, Rita.
Well, this is very small, I think, but I recently saw something about security, and that you should turn off facial and voice recognition, fingerprints, because they can be turned against you.
Oh, okay.
You need to have a password that's strong versus that kind of recognition.
Right. So all the other kinds of recognition, there are fingerprints, there's eye scans and voice recognition and facial recognition. And we don't know who might access those identifying markers for us. That's right. That's that issue of privacy and accountability. Yes.
Understand that all technology can be used for good and evil.
Yeah, thanks, Marty.
Currently, AI is being used in places like China and other totalitarian government. It's possible with supercomputers to listen to huge amounts of data.
Right.
Our own intelligence services are screening every international phone call that is being recorded and looking for keywords or names.
Right. So the comment about surveillance and how that is
one of the things that all of us has to recognize.
Right.
There was a cartoon I saw recently, and one person asked, government can't quiet my phone.
Oh, your phone just turned on with that. Interesting. Yeah.
Each of us has a microphone and camera.
Yeah.
That we carry all the time.
Right. And a global positioning tracker.
Remember.
Too. Yeah.
that everything you say or do, or that camera could be turned on by the government. And this is something that you have to remember about and always guard your own freedom.
Yeah, yeah. So, right. So thank you, Marty. Questions about our own freedom and privacy with tracking and these new machines that can crunch just so much more data than any human spy ever was able to. Yes, Nancy.
I get concerned about the lack of imagination on our part.
Yeah.
When you just say, "Oh, AI, come up with a paper for me."
Right.
You know, on the Civil War. You know, and you're not being pushed to think about things on your own.
Yes. Yes.
And it's my brother-in-law is a professor at Seton Hall, and he said it's very difficult to tell the difference between an AI paper and a regular paper if you don't know the student.
If you don't know the student. Interesting. Yeah, thank you. So Nancy's saying, what does this technology do to our exercising our muscle of creativity and our own generative capacity? And you know, I think that I don't know about you, but I've experienced this. The more I use GPS, the more when I don't have my phone with me, I don't have that same mental map that I used to have, that I've been developing, you know, in certain areas when I didn't have that ability. So what are the pros and cons? What are we giving up when we rely on these tools for, you know, daily use? Yes. Thank you.
How many people under the age of 50 know how to read a map?
How many people under the age of 50 know how to read a map? That's a great question. It is. Yeah. 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 Thanks, Herb.
Yeah. I read an article recently. It said one of the limitations of AI will always be it can't duplicate human judgment based on experience.
Human judgment based on experience. Yes, it is hard to code for that. Yep, absolutely. Right.
A little bit of humor. Somebody asked Elon Musk, what do you do if one of these computers, you know, is gone crazy and is going to launch World War III? And he said, unplug the computer. You know, which it is a machine. It's a bunch of machines. You know, it's not real people.
That's right. Yeah. For those who couldn't hear Herb, he said that Elon Musk was quoted. Someone said, "What happens if one of these machines turns on us and tries to launch World War III or something?" And his answer was, "Unplug the machine." Yeah. 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 I don't want to miss any questions or comments from our live stream friends. Thanks so much for staying with us and being with us today. Anything? Okay. Great. And thanks to those of you who are watching for our chat feature. Did I miss anything else in chat? We're at a little past the hour. Thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for engaging in this topic, and I hope we continue to wrestle with it as people of faith, with energy, intelligence, imagination, and love. Yeah. Amen.
Thank you, Leah. Well, if that doesn't engage the gray matter to think about AI and its impact on our lives and how we need to be cautious, I think, on what AI is doing as we may use some of these artificial intelligence tools. And then my personal view is they can be a help, but they can't be the answer. You still have to apply your own judgment to it. You're probably very good on straight technical mathematical calculations, but when the human involvement, I think as Herb was saying, it can't relate to them. So we can't all become just sitting here and letting AI run our life. So, but thank you for an engaging discussion, presentation that makes us think. And so with that, thank you again for all a grand kickoff to a new year, and see you all next week. Take care.
Thank you.